Hello and welcome to the Tarkus Zone. Thank you for joining me. Today we're going to be talking about the game RivenWorld, the First Era. And it's Wednesday morning. And guess what today is? It's live stream day for the developer. They're going to be doing a live stream like they do every Wednesday, I believe at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. They're going to be on YouTube. I think they'll be on Facebook. They've got their links in their community forum for you to find which platform you want to use to watch the stream. I'm going to bring over the Discord just to show you the devlog from this week. And we'll just go over it real quick. This was posted, I believe, on Monday. And it's what they worked on last week. And I'm believing that once they put this, that we worked on this, we should be able to see a good majority of this in the upcoming video or stream tonight. They added more blocks to building system. They started the combat system, meaning that we probably might not see that tonight if they've just started it. Started the AI animal and mobs. Again, we might not see that tonight. I really want to see combat. I want to see mobs moving around. I want to see how mobs interact with the terrain. I do want to see that, but it looks like they started that. Working on doors and gates. So I'm thinking if it's added, we might be able to see that today in the live stream. Added procedural resource spawning system. And working on the campfire torch, or added campfire torch in chest. Added thumbnails for items in the inventory. And added player name in the chat. That's good. And then this week, they're working on these items, which we might see next week. In their stream, finished land claiming system. They got to get that done right before they do any sort of beta demo. They got to get the land claim system working the right way, and they're not probably going to get it on day one, meaning it'll be implemented, but the balancing or the pitfalls of what they've got, the player base might have to say, oh, this isn't working, or you need to tweak this. So that will get worked out through a beta demo process. But I want to get the core system down so Tarkus can see what that core system is about and see if Tarkus can break it. Because if that's not working correctly, the entire house of cards, the entire game's house of cards kind of crumble to the ground. And, when I rate video games, I rate them that, yeah, they got bugs, but the game's still green lighted because those bugs can get fixed. And then they've got bugs that are like in yellow phase where it could go either way and it makes the player base nervous, and hopefully they get it resolved that they don't. And then there's bugs where they're red flags that if they cannot deliver or fix that red flag issue, everything below it is mute because it's a house of cards, it's a game blow up, it's a dumpster fire at that point if the developer can't fix the red flag issues and get those resolved quickly, because I could care less about fixing everything below it, because if you can't fix the core one, then everything below it just doesn't matter. And I've had so many games where the developer worked on everything down here and their player base just went away. They're like, why is the game dead? It's because you didn't work on the things that were breaking your game. Fix the things that are breaking your game before you add in a decorative chair, or here's some more decorative tables to put in your building. It's like, dude, why do I need another building item when you've got mechanics in the game that somebody can sneeze on my entire structure and blow it away and it's gone forever? It's like, fix the sneezing problem. Get rid of the ability that somebody can wipe out my entire assets for just by leaning on the building. It's like, come on, fix your games. So, like I said, there's three tiers that I like to look at. So when I get into games, when in demo phases or in beta phases, I kind of try to look for those really red flag ones that I can tell the developer, look, if you don't fix this, then you're going to have mass hemorrhaging on your player base, and you're going to get mass refunds, and you're going to get terrible reviews, And I'm not considering myself an expert at this. Sometimes, occasionally, I can be wrong. But I would say 90% of the time when I found those red flags, reported them, the developer understood, the developer did absolutely nothing to fix it, those games are all dead today. They were like on the platform for maybe 3 months before they were dug and buried, and people pissed all over them because they couldn't fix core issues with their games. And it's not like we didn't tell them that's what the issue was. Okay, moving forward with this with this game, start work on machines and automation and titles. I'm not sure automation and titles. So I imagine those are things that are going to be NPCs that are going to be selling your stuff, and maybe the automations with siege engines. I'm not really sure. I could ask them tonight what they mean about that. Start work on the throne claiming system. Add more resource nodes to the map. I mean, add more resource nodes. That's something you're always going to do. That's fluff. I mean, yeah, you got to balance the resources so that if you have 100 people running around, they're just not standing around with their thumbs up their butts, waiting for a node to respawn, that they could just get on their horse and maybe go 2 minutes down the map and there's another section that you can farm. I mean, when World of Warcraft first came out, they had a huge issue with resource nodes because it was, especially if you were in a PvE server. So that's basically you're just racing from one node to the other, and everybody knew the respawn numbers, and every time the node got there, there'd be 12 people waiting to whack on it, and then you would fly to the next one that you know was up, and there'd be 12 people waiting to whack on it. That gets old quick. That is something that is so stupid. It's just like, oh my goodness, I can't believe they even considered that as a, that lack of resources on their maps. But WoW figured it out. WoW started to understand that they had to balance it. They had to put enough down that it was fair to everyone, but not enough down where the economy would be crashed or items would be easily gained by putting too many of those nodes down. So if you've got an item in the game that's an uber item and you need 15 mithril bars and you've got 1,000 mithril nodes, the value of the item kind of goes down a lot because the mithril is so easy to get, right? I mean, but if your server only had 8 locations, maybe 12 nodes total, and you had to go traverse a continent to get it, you add some grindiness to it, but the item that you're making, its value goes up considering the fact that there's such a lack of resources on the map. We'll be holding the dev stream on Wednesday, February 8th, which I believe is today at 9 p.m. to showcase the progress and answer questions for the community. All right. So this is where they're at. We're waiting for that stream today. It's 4 p.m. my time, so in a few hours. And then I'll be watching and asking questions in that stream as I do when I'm following games. I try not to be too much of a pain in the ass for the developer. I try to ask one-word questions, and if they are gamers, which they are, they understand what I'm asking. I don't have to type out, will the goblin mob move from, I just write goblin mob ? And let them come up with the answer. I mean, I always found that when you're asking questions, you kind of you leave it a little open-ended. It's like teeing up a ball and they just whoop and they knock it into a home run. So you don't specifically narrow down the question, you open-end the question so that they can give you more for the information. So when I wrote swords ? The person said, oh yeah, there'll be swords, and then went on to talk about other items. When I did wagons ? Beasts of burden ? It was, oh yeah, we're going to have carts, and they went on. So that's how I like to ask my questions. I obviously don't like to type a lot either. I mean, if I can just get my point across, you know what I'm talking about. There was a couple things that I put down, auto loot ? And they kind of didn't understand what I meant by that. I did have to kind of whittle that down a little bit of what I meant by auto loot, meaning that if you knock if there's an item on the ground, if you walk on it, it goes into your inventory. I don't have to do an interface click to pick it up. Or when they chop trees down in this game, I don't have to do an interface click to pick it up. It automatically, the item goes into my inventory. That's what I consider auto loot. Now this game has 2 looting mechanisms. It's got auto loot for some items, and there'll be other items that you will have to interact with to get those items in your inventory. Well, that's it, folks. A really brief video about the status of the game currently and the live stream coming up tonight. So thank you for joining me. This has been the Tarkus Zone.